Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Solanandana Mujajana Ranjana Yasona Yasolanandana Mujajana Ranjana Yasona Jamuna Dhiravana Chari Yamuna Yamuna Dhiravana Chari Yamuna Jai Mr. Padma Mahimsa Prabhupada also to Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Anushra Vaishnava Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glorious some devotees. All glorious some devotees. All glorious some devotees. All glorious Shri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 23, Maharsh Pritu's Going Back Home. And we are on text number 35. Six-liner. Danyam Yashasyam Ayusyam Svargyam Kali Malapaham Dharma Artha Kama Mokshanam Samyak Siddhim Abhishubhi Shraddha Yaitad Anusravyam Chaturnam Karanam Param Dhanyam Yasasyam Ayusam Svargyam Kali Malapalam Dharmartha Kama Moksanam Sangyag Siddhim Abhipsuvi Shraddhayaitad Anusravyam Tatunam Karanam Param Dangyang Yasyang Ayusyang Svargyam Kali Malapaham Dharmartha Kama Moksanam Samyak Siddhim Abhipsvi Shraddhayaitad Anusravyam Chatunyam Karanam Param Dhanyam Yasasyashusam Svargham Kali Malapaham Dharmartha Kama Moksanam Samyak Siddhim Abhipsuvi Shraddhayaitad Anusravyam Chatunyam Karanam Param Nanyam Sasmayosam Dhanyam, the source of riches. Yasosyam, the source of reputation. Ayusyam, the source of an increased span of life. Svargyam, the source of elevation to the heavenly planets. Kali, of the age of Kali. Malapaham, decreasing the contamination. Dharma, religion. Artha, economic development. Kama, sense gratification. Moksanam, of liberation. Shamyak, completely. Siddhim, perfection. Abhisuvi, by those desiring. Shraddhaya, with great respect. Etat, this narration. Anusravyam, must one hear. Taturnam, of the four. Karanam, cause. Param, ultimate. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. By hearing the narration of Prithu Maharaj, one can become great, increase his duration of life, gain promotion to the heavenly planets, and counteract the contamination of this age of Kali. In addition, one can promote the causes of religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Therefore, from all sides it is advisable for a materialistic person who is interested in such things to read and hear the narrations of the life and character of Prithu Maharaj. Purport. By reading and hearing the narrations of the life and character of Prithu Maharaj, one naturally becomes a devotee. And as soon as one becomes a devotee, his material desires automatically become fulfilled. Therefore, it is recommended in SrimadBhagavatam 2:3:10, Akamas harakama va mokshikama dari tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusam param. If a person wants to return home back to Godhead, or wants to become a pure devotee, akama, or wants some material prosperity, sakama or sarvakama, or wants to merge into the existence of the Supreme Brahman, effulgence, mokshakama, he is recommended to take to the path of devotional service, and hear and chant of Lord Vishnu, or his devotee. This is the sum and substance of all Vedic literatures. Vedaischa savara aham eva vedya, Bhagavad Gita 15:15. The purpose of Vedic knowledge is to understand Krishna and his devotees. Whenever we speak of Krishna, we refer to his devotees also, for he is not alone. He is never nirvashesha, or shunya, without variety, or zero. Krishna is full of variety, and as soon as Krishna is present, there cannot be any question of void. Om Jnanatamarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksham Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Mokam Krotavachalam Pangundang Hayate Gurim Yat Kripa Tadaham Bande Shigurum Dinataranam Vanchakapatiyavyasta Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaur Bhaktivan Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. When people are thinking of getting things, or they want something, what's the result? What will I get out of this? When people are considering a job, or considering something to study, or what do I get out of it? So here, it's explained what you get out of just hearing about a Vaishnava. Of course, most devotees aren't interested in a lot of these things. The first one here is he becomes great. Anybody here want to be great? We're not interested in being great. But that automatically comes. Just like Prabhupada, he had no interest in being great. But he's great. He's famous all over the world. Of course, it'd be nice if he was more famous, but nonetheless, he's famous. He's great. He didn't want that, but automatically it happened. So to be a great devotee of Krishna, that's a big accomplishment. There's a lot of famous people in this world, and so-called great. But to be a great devotee of Krishna, that's a huge achievement. It increases the duration of life. Prabhupada said we should try to live long lives. Why? Because we need a lot of purification. So he wanted us to live a long life. And also, the longer we live, the more opportunity we have to preach the message of Krishna, introduce Krishna consciousness to others. So yeah, we should want to live a long life. Now karmis, when they live a long life, they get about usually 65. I have a brother-in-law, he retired at 55 because he got so sick of his job. But we don't retire. Prabhupada was with Tamal Krishna Maharaj in Vrindavan. And he said, yeah, just give your life to Krishna and then you can come here to Vrindavan and you can retire. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, but Prabhupada, you never retired. Yeah. And we're not going to retire either, Prabhupada. We're just going to serve Krishna throughout our life. Very nice, yeah. So devotees don't retire. It's like we have devotees now that are still distributing books in their 70s. Been distributing books like over 4 decades. Yeah. I was speaking to one devotee in Australia, Rupa Raghunath. He's like the general in book distribution in Australia. So I said, yeah, why don't we just distribute books right into our 70s? He said, 70s? Right into our 90s. It's possible. Actually, I had an interesting experience with Jagaranga Prabhu. You all know Jagaranga? No. He was you know Jagaranga. He was in L.A. for a long time. He's in Texas now. We used to go and travel in Sankirtan a lot. So we were up in, we went up to Idaho and Washington and Utah. We were coming down, just finishing the tour, and we were going to spend the night. We were coming down, going back to LA. We were going to stay the night in Las Vegas, and then just leave the next morning. But so we were looking for a place to pull over the vehicle and rest for the night, and we saw one exit where there was a university was at that exit. And so I said to Jagaranda, well, it looks like Krishna wants us to distribute books tomorrow. Again, that wasn't the plan. So we stayed there overnight, and then we went and distributed books at this college, Las Vegas. Small school, but it was nice. And believe it or not, there was about 8 or 10 Christians. And they were all like in their 70s, 80s, distributing books, Christian Bibles. So I was curious. I went up to him and said, excuse me, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you? Well, I'm 75. Well, and you're still doing the Lord's service here. Very good. Yeah. He said, well, what better way to use the last days of your life than spreading the glories of God? Good mood you got there. And there was one guy who was like 83, distributing books. So I thought, wow, I told Jagaranda, Krishna's given us a sign that we could do this right up to the end of our life. Yeah. Here's the example. So, yeah, it's not that hard. I mean, it's like in L.A. we have, what's his name? Maharaj, Amala Bhakti Maharaj. He's like 86 or 87 now. And sometimes he's still the only dancer in the temple. So it's possible. But of course, as Prabhupada would always end his letters, I hope this meets you in good health. So we'd have to live a healthy life, and then we could serve Krishna nicely throughout this lifetime. And then here it says you could gain promotion to the heavenly planets. Anybody want to go to heaven? Of course, we're not interested in some of these things. It's like going in, living in a nice neighborhood, but it's temporary. Shinye punye marchi lokam vishanti. Someone may go to heaven, and it's a nice life in the heavenly planets, but it's temporary. Got to come down again. Of course, it's possible to go higher, but generally not. And then counteract the contaminations of the age of Kali. Now we are interested in that. Iti sadasakam nama Kali kanasanasanam nata pratrapaya sarvavedesha disyate. That if one wants to counteract the sins of Kali Yuga and overcome all the contamination of this age, there's no alternative than to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. There's so much contamination in this age of Kali. People are so fallen. Yeah. Just like there's so much concern now about this coronavirus. But do you know where the most dangerous place is in the world? Anybody know? In the womb. In the womb. In the mother's womb. About 50 million, between 40 and 50 million children die every day in their mother's womb. Yeah. Between 40 and 50 million, something like that, every year. Yeah. In India, it's about 7 million. Yeah, from abortion. Yeah, here, I don't know what, somewhere between about 1, 2 million, something like that, a year, abortion. Yeah. Dangerous. In Kali Yuga, it's dangerous to be in your mother's womb. On the other hand, we have, who was that? That was Parikshit. He was in the womb of his mother. What's her name? Uttara. The Brahmastra was coming to kill Parikshit Maharaj. And she prayed to Krishna, please save my child. I don't care if I die. Save my child. See, a different mood. They're ready to die. Actually, there are examples even in this age of women that were the doctor would tell them, you have a choice. Either you die or your child dies. Sometimes they have a situation like that. You're both not going to live. It's just, and sometimes they choose, let my child live. Yeah. So something's still there. So this age is very degraded. A very degraded age. Prabhupada was walking one time with the devotees, and there was a garbage can, and there was a sign, please put garbage here. And Prabhupada said, then you'll have to put the whole material world in there. So much contamination in the age of Kali. But we have this this way to become free of contamination just by hearing srimadbhagavatam. We get purified. Amala Puranam, the spotless prana, just by hearing the srimadbhagavatam. Like there's a verse that the literary incarnation of Krishna enters into the ear of the self-realized devotee. There it sits on the lotus flower of his loving relationship with Krishna. He cleanses it of all lust, anger, greed, and it acts like autumnal rain upon muddy pools of water. Yeah, beautiful verse. So this is the power of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Just cleanses all the dirt in the heart. And an interesting example that's given there, that just like here on the sidewalk, there might be some hole in the sidewalk, and naturally some dirt might get in there. And when the rain comes, it immediately becomes muddy. right? Immediately becomes muddy. But as the rain comes down harder and harder and harder, then all the mud is removed, and it's just clear, distilled water. So in the material world, our hearts are muddy, they're dirty. But by this continuous hearing and chanting, then eventually we become cleansed of all this dirt in the heart. It's as Prabhupada said, it's called the fire of ordeal. Yeah. Fire is very purifying. Just like the way they get gold, they get pure gold, they put it in fire, and the impurities come out of the gold. Or butter also, you put butter put it in a pot, and you put it in the fire, and then the impurities come out, and then you have just pure ghee. The fire is very, very purifying. And also example is given that gold is something that's very attractive to people. But there's fool's gold. And it looks just like gold. Therefore it's called fool's gold. And they think it's gold. Oh, I've become rich. But then they find out, sorry, it's fool's gold. So there's pleasure in this world. And there's fool's pleasure. Yeah. So sense gratification, material sense gratification, is fool's pleasure. It's not real pleasure. It actually binds the living entity in this material world. Becomes more and more conditioned. But there is real pleasure. Real pleasure is when one is engaged in the devotional service of Krishna, trying to please Krishna. Just like Rupa Goswami, he says, I do not know how much nectar there is in the holy name of Krishna. When the holy name of Krishna enters into the heart, it cleanses it of all, what is it? No, what is that? I wish they had millions and millions of tongues to chant the holy name, millions of ears to hear the holy name. When the holy name enters in the courtyard of my heart, I experience unlimited happiness. It stops all the activities of my mind. So he's experiencing some real happiness there. He wants to have so many ears. 2 is not enough. So many tongues to chant. 1 is not enough. Getting so much pleasure. Just from hearing. I mean, it's inconceivable. It's inconceivable. We're all hearing the holy name. Wouldn't that be nice? To actually, hear the holy name and to experience the pleasure of chanting the holy name. Therefore, devotee prays to Lord Nityananda, please, Lord Nityananda, please give me happiness in Krishna consciousness, so I'm no longer attracted to the illusions, to the illusory pleasures of this world. So this is the real gold. Pure devotional service. And then he goes on to say, in addition, one can promote the causes of religion, economic development, and sense gratification and liberation. Therefore, from all sides it is advised for a materialistic person who is interested in such things to read and hear the narrations of the life and character of Prithu Maharaj. So it's pretty far out that just by hearing about these great personalities, devotees of the Lord, we get purified. Who would have thought of such a thing? Just hearing about a pure soul, one gets purified. But it's so pleasing, isn't it? It's so pleasing to hear about Prithu Maharaj or Prahlad Maharaj, the Mahajanas, Prabhupada. It's like we have the Prabhupada Leelamrita. And you hear so many wonderful pastimes of Srila Prabhupada. And just to hear the pastimes of these great devotees, it's very pleasing and purifying to hear. So the Srimadbhagavatam is glorification of Krishna and glorification of Krishna's devotees. And Prabhupada mentions here in the purport, whenever we speak of Krishna, we refer to his devotees also, for he is not alone. Krishna is never alone. He always has his friends with him. Lots of friends. Krishna has lots of friends. Yeah. I was listening to a lecture recently, and Krishna, he was sometimes he would be naughty with his friends, stealing things and doing mischief. So Prabhupada was given a class, and one Indian Mataji says, she said, Swamiji, Krishna, he was a naughty boy. And Prabhupada said, yes. Yeah. Krishna is the origin of being naughty. Yeah. It's like so many naughty boys. I was a naughty boy myself. So Krishna is the origin of that. He's the origin of everything. And the things, the naughty things that Krishna did are very attractive. Very attractive. He would steal butter, and he would do so many things. I guess that was his main mischief. Krishna, he liked butter. And Krishna, he would go to the forest and play his flute, and so many girls, unmarried girls, would go to him, and they would dance. So actually, this is the main way that Christians would try to lure Hindus away from Hinduism. What kind of a God is this? He's dancing with all these unmarried girls, and some of them were married. So they consider this to be immoral. But as Prabhupada said, no. God, He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So He has so many living entities, and everyone is under Him. Everyone is controlled by Him. Everyone is meant to serve Him. So all women are meant to serve Krishna. They're part of Krishna, servants of Krishna. So it's not immoral for him to enjoy. Actually, it's not that he was so much interested in that, but the cowherd girls, they all wanted to go to Krishna. And his playing the flute was it was to attract him. But they wanted that. They wanted to be attracted to Krishna. But Krishna, he's Atmaram. He's self-satisfied. He doesn't need anything. He's completely satisfied by himself. Although he has so many devotees, because they want to be with Krishna. But Krishna, he's self-satisfied. And here in the purport, Prabhupada quotes this famous verse, Akama sarva kama va moksha kama udardi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusampara. That whether one is full of material desires, has no material desires, is living desire and liberation, he should worship the personality of Godhead. So see how liberal Krishna is. Even someone is filled with material desires, if we worship him, then he's pleased, and we get purified. Just like Dhruva Maharaj, he had such a big desire, probably the biggest material desire that anybody has ever had. He wanted a kingdom greater than that of his great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather, something, Lord Rama. So he wanted a kingdom greater than Lord Brahma. So he was worshipping Krishna. But then he got so much happiness from worshipping Krishna that when Lord Vishnu finally arrived, he was embarrassed. He said, "Kachang viching vang api divya ratnang swamin kodatos varam nyache." He said, "I was desiring a broken piece of glass, but now I have achieved you, the greatest gem." So he considered this, the whole kingdom of Lord Brahma, to be nothing but broken glass. Now how significant is broken glass? What do we do with broken glass? We throw it away. No value at all. So the whole kingdom of Lord Brahma is like, there's no value to a devotee. But to have devotion for Krishna, this is a huge achievement, and a devotee is satisfied with that. Just like Lord Chaitanya says, "Prema dana vanavya daridra jivan dasakari vitani more deha prema dana." Anybody that does not have love for Krishna is considered to be a daridra jivan. It means a poor soul. Therefore, my dear Lord Krishna, he's playing the role of a devotee. He says, "Please give me devotional service to you. And all I want in return is pure devotion. Please give me service to you, and all I want in return is pure devotional service to you." So this is what a devotee wants. Pure devotional service. This will satisfy the soul. Nothing else will satisfy the soul except for this pure service to Krishna. And none of these things that are mentioned here will completely satisfy the soul. Is there any question or comment? Or reflection? All right, thank you very much.
So in the case of, you could say like addicts, of drug addicts, you know, they have this they have something that's going on in their mind, in that they want to give it up, but they can't give it up exactly. Like I know a devotee, he gave up his heroin addict. He gave up his heroin habit, but for many years he was struggling with that for a long time, and he was telling me that he would always he would do it. He would shoot the heroin, and then he would always regret it. He's, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I don't want to do this." And he'd be praying to God for like years, and still he wasn't able to give it up. So it's kind of interesting, because you could say on some level he wanted to, but he wasn't able to. And then eventually, it was this happy ending. When you're trying to get off of heroin, you go to some clinic. A bunch of people go there, and they give you some type of, I forgot what it was, some type of pill, and it helps you get off, the heroin. So then he was going there, and he'd go there every week. And then this social worker, he saw him, and he called him over, and he was kind of like not heavy, but called him over, and he started to chide him. He started to chastise him. He said, "Are you going to be doing this your whole life? Just come in here every week and, come on, get with it. Just give it up." And eventually he did that. and from that guy's words, he just didn't go the next week, and then he was free. So, I mean, we were talking about this the other day. We were sharing the I was sharing a shloka with devotees, Tata Duk Sangam Utsruja, that the sadhu, by their strong words, they could cut the attachments in the mind, you know. But so you could say my question, or as I want you to comment on, is that sometimes, you know, devotees are wondering, okay, like I've heard so many Bhagavatam classes, I've read Prabhupada's books, you know, I've chanted, so what's going on? Why can't I break my attachment? And when is it going to break, you know, to this whole, you know?
Well, even though we're doing so much hearing and chanting, still there's a point where we have to just really take it seriously. Like we may be hearing and chanting, but also doing other things that aren't so conducive for our advancement in Krishna consciousness. So, yeah, to fully surrender to Krishna, it's not an easy thing. We're conditioned souls. So although we're trying to surrender to Krishna, still that attachment is there. So we just have to pray to Krishna and continue on, and hopefully by His mercy we'll get purified and become attached to Krishna. Lord Chaitanya said there's two reasons why it's difficult to achieve pure devotional service. One is we have to be completely attached to Krishna. Now there's some attachment, but still we're also attached to so many things. Due to our conditioned nature, there's still so many things that we're attached to. So we have to be attached to Krishna, completely attached to Krishna. And the other reason, he said, Krishna just simply doesn't give it easily. Because if you give something easily, then you also give it up easily. Right? You get something easily, then you give it up easily. But if you're trying to get something, you're just giving everything you've got to get something, then once you achieve that, you'll never give it up. So, it's not a cheap thing to attain pure love for Krishna. It's yeah. Devotee asked Prabhupada, how many years does it take before we'll be able to chant the holy name purely? Anybody know what he said? No, one person asked Prabhupada, how long did it take you before you chanted purely? Can you imagine someone asking that to Prabhupada? The Prabhupada said 40 years. His humility. They would always ask Prabhupada, how long will it be before we chant the name purely? He said 60 years. So in other words, you get a lot of purification needs to be there. So, yeah, we've entered into a process that's not easy to achieve. But even though we haven't attained pure devotional service, we haven't attained the goal that we're all trying to achieve, still it's a nice process. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Wake up in the morning, we chant Hare Krishna, Mangalartik, and Guru Puja, nice prasadam, nice association. It's a nice life. Yeah. And we're actually very privileged You know, with this coronavirus, and people's lives are just thrown up in just chaos. But we're just continuing on, doing as we were doing. So of course we would like to be out distributing books, but you know, we're hearing and chanting. As Vijaya Dasa said, it's our chaturmasya period. You know, just sit and chant and hear. So devotees, not a big deal. Like Prabhupada also, he said when there was a big famine, artificial famine by the British in Calcutta, and you know, rice at one point it was like, you know, for a kilo it was like 5 pice, and then the next day it cost like, I don't know, 40 rupees or something, just, you know, 400 times more expensive, and people were struggling like anything. But he talked to the devotees, and yeah, everything's okay. Yeah. People dying on the street, you know, just. But yeah, devotees are. So Krishna takes care of the devotees. Yes, I would say.
Tapas just made a comment online. He just said, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam to His Grace Vijay Prabhu. Your class is always so inspiring for bhakti. Pranams. That's all.
Thank you. Krishna's mercy. There's a verse I chant before class. Salanksha Shisha Bhagavan Bhachangsi Me. It's actually spoken by Sukadeva Goswami. He says, please decorate my words for my own purification and for the purification of others. Decorate my words with your presence. So I always try to pray for the Krishna come for my own purification, for all of our purification. Okay. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.